Well, everyone, welcome to the MRO show presented by Chadwell Supply. We have an amazing guest with us today. Leslie, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself. But first and foremost, we'd like to thank you for being here, for being at this trade show. And how's the trade show going for you so far?
It's been great. So I kind of slid in to compartmentalize last night because of some crazy schedule stuff, but I hit the floor after my session today and found some of my favorite friends, and now I've met you, and you're my new best friend.
That's exactly right.
It's actually been really great.
Good. So I know you said you have a session. I would love to get into that. But First and foremost, could you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I'm Leslie Mathis. I'm the owner of Streamline Multifamily Group. Most people know me as the Director of Asset Management with Woodfield Development, but I fell into the industry 23 years ago, just crazy story looking for an apartment.
Right.
I worked my way up from the bottom, and I'm an operator at heart. So I love apartments, and I'm excited to be here.
Good. And I'm assuming you've been to quite a few NAAs.
You know, it's really funny you asked that. I've only been to, I'm pretty sure 2.
Really?
In my whole 23-year career, I've been to 2. I think it's here in San Diego, and I spoke at both of them, and it's only been in the last few years.
Okay.
But previously, I worked for companies that kind of, I don't know, maybe they just didn't support it the way that other organizations do today.
Right.
And so I hadn't been.
Okay. Well, I know you said you spoke at both of those, the last 2 you were at, which is great. I'm super glad. Can you tell us a little bit about what you spoke about?
Today?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Jermaine, I'm so excited about this topic. It's actually become my passion. I also have a podcast, and naturally it's come up on the podcast with several of the guests, but we spoke about employees first.
Right.
So I think so many times we get it backwards. We say customers first and then employees. But when we flip that script, it really is meaningful for us. Like if we make our employees first, then everything else will flow into place.
Right. And what do you think is like the phrase employees first? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so great question. It really, to me, it means that we put together a team of like-minded individuals who understand the objective of what we're working towards, and then we give them everything they need.
Right.
And you know, there was some questions today about we probably throw around the word culture too much. And it's come up since we've been talking about this. You know, people leave people, not companies.
That's true. So
we have to create an environment where people really want to be. Like we spend the majority of our time at work, and so we need to enjoy doing that. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean there's going to be rainbows and butterflies. But if we create an environment where people want to be, I really feel that everything else will fall into place. Like, again, it's not going to be easy, but people are going to want to work harder.
Right.
They're going to want to do those extra things. All of a sudden, it becomes about relationships and not just checking the box.
Do you think that, I would say generationally, there's been a gap change? Because I know the previous generations saw work as something different, and now this new generation with online social media, the way you can leave a job and go to another job, do you see it generationally changing, or is it more or less people have evolved and are changing?
So I think you're right, it's generational, and what we said today is the new generation is really showing us what work-life balance is.
Right, okay.
But what I challenge is we've got to meet people where they're at. So what makes you excited might not make me excited. My work-life balance might look different than yours, and that's okay.
Right.
But we can't just put everybody in a box, and that goes back to just checking the box. We've got to figure out a way to make it individualized to that person. So for me at Streamline, over the last 12 months, we've actually spent a lot of time around the Enneagram and understanding each person. And there's no right or wrong with it, but I'm an 8. And what we've learned is there's a healthy 8 and an unhealthy 8, or an unhealthy version of you for every number. But when you understand that individual, then you can meet them where they're at. So if you're a 2 and you're not motivated by spending time with people, you're motivated by spreadsheets and the achievements,
right.
which is like nails on a chalkboard to an 8, right?
Right.
But if I know what excites you as a 2, then I can meet you where you're at.
Right.
I can give you what you're good at.
Right.
I can individualize like the experience to you.
Correct. That makes sense.
But if we just have this, you show up on day 1, here's your new gift bag, then a 7 would probably be really excited about that.
Okay.
But maybe I'm not. Like, maybe I want to meet the CEO and understand that he or she actually cares about me and I'm not just a number.
Right.
And so that's what we really have to do. I probably took us down a tangent, but to me, that's what it means. And I think because I've been running after so many different things, I've been growing my company. Yeah. I work with new clients. I run asset management for Woodfield. I have a podcast. I get the question a lot of like, when do you do all of that? Okay. And it almost feels judgmental, but that's what I choose to do. I choose to not eat lunch and host a podcast, but that's my choice. It's not wrong. Like you might choose to take an extra lunch and work a few minutes late, or you might choose to come in late and stay late. But that doesn't make either one of them wrong. But I think as a society and as an industry, we're so set on like it has to be this way. Right. And I do go back to your original question. I think that this new generation is kind of teaching us that. But as a company, if we don't show up and start meeting people where they're at, we're missing the boat. Right. But I think the thing that's been so kind of like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but eye-opening. Thank you. It's been a week, but
it's okay.
Eye-opening for me is we don't do it because it's a lot of extra work. Right. So to individualize like somebody's experience or create tasks for them that they're strong at, but fill the gap with somebody else, that takes time. Right. And that takes energy. You can relate it to the sales floor, like to the leasing floor too. Like we can check all those boxes, but to actually build a relationship with the prospect that creates a lease and a move-in, that takes time and effort. Yeah. And that's the piece I think we're missing.
So there's a lot of things I want to follow up with you. As you said, so many great things. One of the parts that I think was super important that you mentioned was the way that people are just individualizing their experience, right? So in your opinion, what makes somebody a great partner? Like because we service the multifamily industry like any vendor partner, but we're always trying to be better partners for our multifamily partnerships, our valued friends. And so our friendships a lot of times turn into, oh, these are like my family members. But being that's the case, in your opinion, what can make somebody a valued partner?
Yeah, I think it's the thoughtfulness that goes behind it. So it all comes down to relationships. Do what you say you're going to do. That's what starts it. That's what builds the relationship. Right. But, you're not going to go, like for Chadwell specifically.
Okay. Yes.
So you're not going to go with the same packet of information for a lease-up property that you're going to deliver at a renovation property. Yeah. So be thoughtful in that. Right. And you're not going to the same thing. Like you're not going to do that at a stabilized deal. Right. Everything needs to be different. And you need to. For me, it's also like, how do we fit together? Like, how does that partnership really work? How do you fill the gap for me? And then how do I fill the gap for you? Okay. And I need to know, I believe partnership is about, it's not going to be easy. Right. There's going to be things that go wrong. The delivery is not going to make it in time. The part's going to come wrong. Mm-hmm. The fridge is going to come dented, but it's all in what you do afterwards. Right. Be the solution for people. Mm-hmm. And then that's what builds relationships. That's what partnerships about.
You are right.
And then it just grows from there.
Yeah. I know you mentioned also the numbers, and I don't know if you have time to jump into what they mean. Some people listening may not know what you mean. could you explain a little bit about how you said you're an 8, somebody that may be a 7, maybe like this? Could you tell a little bit about what that means, the numbers? Because for those that may be listening, may go, what numbers is she talking about? Maybe I'm a 2 or a 1?
Yeah. So I was referring to the Enneagram. There are so many different personality tests out there. Right. I did Insights with my performance coach. That's the one he uses. For Streamline, for that team, we did Enneagram. And Tracy Bowers does that. They did it at Rangewater. They're doing it at Gallery. So it's a very common one that you can look up. But there's 9 different numbers, 1 through 9. And it basically is you take a test and most people say like you are who you are from like if you took it at 5 or you took it at 55, like it just doesn't change.
Your number will always be your number.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's what they say. I'm sure there's like, I'm not the expert by any means. I know how to lease an apartment.
It's okay.
But that's what it is. And so it basically is your personality type. It's that same one of like, are you red, yellow? Like there's a million of them.
I get it.
But some people are like driven by like spending time with people and that's where they get their energy from. Most of my team at Streamline, they're not. They're more of the quiet behind the scenes and they don't really need a lot of interaction with people. They like spreadsheets. They like audits. They like, finding the problem and creating a solution. They don't need the limelight. And so it's just kind of basically like how you act and respond. My admin is, she's a doer and she is, everything's about principle with her. So she's a 1 and she can come off as abrasive, but she that's not really who she is. She wants to do everything correct. She wants to do it right efficiently in the right time. And so but it can be perceived differently if you don't know about it. I shared in our session today, I have a manager in one of my portfolios that she's a processor and so am I, but mine looks a little different than her. But before I knew about the different numbers, I found communication with her hard until I understood like she's thinking through every scenario because she wants to make sure what she tells me is accurate and that she can deliver on it. So there's often this gap, like that awkward silence that I'm not comfortable with. And she wants to give me like all the information at one time.
Precise.
Exactly. But what I know now is I just have to let her think through it and I'll sit and I'll wait with it. But her work is so detailed and it's accurate. Like she is not sending reports incorrectly. She's so thoughtful and like with me, I get going so fast. Like I'll shoot off an email and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to say this.
I do the same. That's
not how it is with her. Like it all comes out accurate and correct the first time. Like she's thought through every scenario. But what's interesting about her, so she's become one of my best managers. And she is able to kind of teach the expectation because she's developed that. Like she's kind of set it now within that portfolio. But she's now like a performer for us. But if I wouldn't have taken the time to understand, I could have missed out on that. So but I didn't know enough about it at the time that I could have been moving too quick and missed out on a great opportunity.
I get that. And it makes me wonder, what is the best way and how to understand people that way? Is it more or less, okay, let me understand all the numbers and then maybe I'll have a better chance of reaching out to the people who I'm hiring, who I'm working with? Or is it better to, okay, if I know I'm hiring people or I'm going to be working around people, these are the people that I work best with. These are the numbers that I'm looking for as far as like workmates or employees.
So I wanted it to be that easy. Our Enneagram coach, she says it doesn't necessarily work that way. So one of our team members is a 4 and
Right.
she runs the company and she is such a good fit for me. So I'm like, do we hire all 4s? And ironically, nobody on our team is a 5. And I'm like, does that mean we stay away from 5s? And she's like, no.
That's what I'm asking because I'm just curious. Yeah,
so I think that's like the efficiency part of us probably. I'm like, let's just like narrow it down and no 5s. You test a 5, you're out.
Processing.
Yeah. So it does not work like that.
Okay.
But it's my understanding, and this is how we've done it within my organization, is our whole team took the test and then the results were shared with everybody.
Right.
And then we had team coaching that took place.
It just got dark. Sorry.
So we had team coaching that took place, sharing the healthy and unhealthy versions and what reactions would look like, so you could manage to it.
Yeah.
Or, and again, it goes back to like how I always say, meeting people where they're at. But for instance, one of my employees, I work with her at both Streamline and Woodfield, and she'll know exactly that I'm calling her out. But she's a 7, and so she's the fun-loving one. I tease her. I'm like, good thing neither department have an HR because it's not appropriate to slap people on their butt.
Yeah, no,
but
not at all.
That means she loves you.
Yes.
But with her, if there's a problem, she's very open to like feedback and how to improve. But you better give her a positive first.
Right.
Because if you just go at her with a negative, then she's going to shut down and she's not going to hear it. And then you spend more time trying to recover from that. But now knowing, like giving her 2 positives and then saying like, hey, I was looking through this report. I'd like to see it like this. Can you fix that? Or, hey, I saw there was something incorrect on the report. Before you send it next time, just double check it.
Yeah.
When you start with a positive, she hears the other and she corrects it, and she's very open to it.
Gotcha.
So it gives you this information to learn how to work with that individual, and then how to, like, for the team to really connect. Like, I can come across as direct and somebody might perceive that as harsh, but it's not. So now knowing that about me, then people can kind of go, oh, she wasn't upset. She was just saying, hey, get that done.
Right.
And then also there's like that piece of, I like to have like the freedom with like I don't care how you get from A to Z, just get there. Yeah. But there's a few things like I want done my way, and there's a reason behind it. So now my team understands, like, I'm not being overbearing when I ask you to do something a certain way. It's the way I want it done, move on. Yeah. And so they know, like, do that. But if there's no direction, then it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there.
Correct.
And the accuracy behind it. Like for me in a small company, it's so important that we're accurate.
Right.
But when you lay all this out for people and they know what the expectations are and they know how each person kind of ticks, it's like a game changer.
Right.
Game changer.
It makes sense. As you were talking again, and I'm telling you, you're giving us so much great information. So again, thank you for being on the MRO show. But I'm hearing you say it, and I think to myself, okay, let's say there's 10 people listening and they want to understand their team better, but where would you say they should start first? Because I think from, as you are speaking, the one thing I notice about how you're handling even your team, you understand yourself, which allows you to understand other people.
Right.
For people to understand themselves, where should they start?
So you can take the test online. There's like, you can pick your test and then stay with it, kind of get in your lane and go. Yep. But there's so much out there on the internet now. There's actually a couple books about the Enneagram. If you Google it, I don't remember what they are. I barely remember the numbers. I know I'm an 8.
That's
and
okay.
Sometimes it's considered a bulldozer. Yeah. But I don't remember the names. But you can start online. Okay. And there are coaches out there. People can reach out to me and I can share any information.
Can I ask where they can reach out to you at?
Oh, yeah, of course. So you can find me on streamlinemultifamily.com. Okay. all of our contact information is on there.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I've had to make sure you can plug that in because I know if someone's trying to listen now and they want to reach out to you, I'm like, let me let them know where they can reach out to you.
yeah,
So,
that's perfect.
Continue.
And then we have a women's group called Empower with an HER at the end. So you can find us there too. And we actually have our own podcast too, Multifamily Streamline.
Okay.
There's a couple options.
That's a good thing. As you can see, we love podcasts here.
Yeah.
When it comes to the new day and age I know you were mentioning how, let's say you send the email and you may be direct, but it may come off a different way. Has that changed in the past few years? Because I know a lot of times wording may get mistranslated or things may be different in text, but I think that's a lot more with the digital age. Is that like a thing or is it something we just can't really get over? You need more face-to-face interaction. How is that in this world?
Yeah. So I think some of that doesn't go away, and we've got to stop hiding behind a screen. And if you're not willing to have the hard conversations, you probably shouldn't send it in an email. And common courtesy should not go away. Mm-hmm. But for me, mine has changed because I started working with a performance coach about 2 years ago, and I really just, again, started working on myself.
Right.
And I try to be a little more thoughtful. If we've just got to fire something off and get it done, yes. But I really try to have some common courtesy because, so much of that is gone today.
Right.
I did get some feedback not too long ago that in person, I tend to be a little more direct, and then my emails will be really nice. Really? And I'm like, is it just because there's only a few words in them, or is it something else? And then another asset manager that I work with on the Woodfield portfolio, they said it was opposite. So she was like really fun and flowery in person, and she sends an email and it's just kind of direct and to the point. Direct. And so like we're both this opposite thing, and they were like, I don't know what to do with that. But yeah, I mean, I think I've seen it like across our industry, not having like the common courtesy. Like the one that gets me isn't email, but it's, on the Zoom meeting with your camera on and you're eating your lunch. Like, listen, nobody wants to see that.
I don't want to see that either.
Spit your gum out.
Don't want to see it.
I just have a personal thing about that.
Yeah.
I don't like smacking. So, like at least show up like at least top up.
Presentable.
Don't let me see your PJs.
I understand.
So I think, COVID kind of did that to us too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that or just as things have changed or as we hide behind our screen, but somehow we got to get back to a little common courtesy. We're not going to be leasing with robots. So I know people want to say that.
I was about to say it.
And I know they want to do it, but this is somebody's home.
Correct.
And there has to be a personal touch to it.
Yeah.
So we can't lose sight of that.
Okay. Well, I know we're not only podcasting in the dark, but again, I thank you so much for coming on the MRO show. There's so much more we want to talk to you about. We're going to hopefully do another episode. Will you do another episode with us?
Of course I will.
Okay, great. If you would like to, we'll try to join your podcast as well. But again, thank you for joining Chadwell Supply. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for being at their second NAA. Hopefully we'll see you at the third one next year, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see you in Vegas. You'll be speaking in Vegas as well?
I don't know. They haven't, we haven't submitted or been announced, but I hope so.
Okay. Because if you speak again, then hopefully we'll speak after that one and then we'll do another podcast. Okay. We'll have plans later. Anyway, thank you again for being here. We appreciate your time.
Jermaine, thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon.